What are you gonna do to me now, old man, now that your sorcery has failed you? Perhaps you'd like to dance for me some more. Hey guys, DB right here, and today I'm back with yet another What If, and this was suggested to me in the comments. I just had to take a fair bit of time really thinking about how this story would even work, and not only that, how it would actually affect the overall story of Dragon Ball. And well, this is What If King Piccolo defeated Mutaito? And well, our story begins basically... Really, I'm not actually overly sure of the timeline here where King Piccolo originally invaded the Earth. I think it was a good few hundred years before the events of Dragon Ball even started, as I recall. You know, because don't warriors like Master Roshi hang around for a long time because of their training? You know, it tends to keep them rejuvenated so they can live longer. I don't know. If anyone's got any source material on how long ago this is before the events of Dragon Ball, please let me know. I'd like to know that. At the very least, it's definitely been long enough that the people of Earth have forgotten about King Piccolo in the original timeline. This is a discussion even in itself. Anyway, not the point. This is the original King Piccolo invasion of Earth. Kami has taken over as Guardian of the Earth after splitting himself from his evil half, Piccolo, who has since more or less gone on a rampage and slowly begun conquering the planet. And, you know, spitting out eggs, creating his entire legion, and pretty much having planet Earth in his grip, and all the humans running in terror. They were dark times indeed, and well, it didn't seem, no matter what the people did, King Piccolo was one step ahead of them, and ultimately had planet Earth down to its knees. The military was useless against him. No amount of tanks, missiles, whatever it is they had at their disposal, did next to nothing against King Piccolo and his minions. The only ones who really stood a chance against King Piccolo and his minions were the martial art temples, and even some of them fell before the might of King Piccolo, until he came across Master Mutaito and his pupils, who were able to band quite the resistance against King Piccolo and his legion, actually fighting back, who were powerful enough to stand up against the creatures and beaten them to the point where King Piccolo himself made his appearance and slowly began decimating the young warriors one by one, to the point that Roshi, Master Shen, and Mutaito were the only survivors. And well, after Mutaito fell in disgrace, Roshi more or less took it upon himself to resist King Piccolo as best he could, while the man who would become Master Shen, the Crane Hermit, ran off, did his own things, and more or less became corrupt by the evil of King Piccolo, also as the story goes. And well, years later, Mutaito returned, claiming to Roshi that he had a technique that could put down the evil King Piccolo once and for all. And well, the next battle commenced. As it did per the original, Mutaito unleashed the Mafuba, aka the evil containment wave, sweeping up the Demon King. However, unfortunately, he missed the electronic jar. The Mafuba didn't work. King Piccolo regained his original form and blew away the electronic jar and quickly disposed of Master Mutaito, who most likely would have fallen before the power of the wave anyway, but just to be sure. This, unfortunately, forced Master Roshi to once again flee. And well, Master Roshi falling in disgrace, the only thing Master Roshi could really think of to do was to master the evil containment wave himself, and as well as get some extra training from Master Korin. It is unclear whether this actually happened before he climbed Korin's tower and got that training from Master Korin. I can't really say for sure. Like I said, I don't have enough source material to go off. But well, needless to say, Master Roshi would continue his training on his own as best he can, and learning the Mafuba as best as he could. And well, with his youth and just how young he is at the time, he knows full well he could not stand up to the might against King Piccolo. No way. And the years just kept going by till Roshi had become an old man. Meanwhile, King Piccolo still tightening his grip more and more on the planet, and well, more and more humans were being decimated by King Piccolo and his legions. And well, King Piccolo, having been challenged by this Mutaito, not once but twice, and well, after nearly being defeated by him the last time because of the electronic jar, he has begun basically his solo mission to exterminate all other martial artists, and basically stuffing out any threat to him. And this, I believe, would actually make the evil Demon King Piccolo train and make himself stronger. Now, I for one believe that King Piccolo sort of falls into the same category as Lord Frieza here. You know, that he was created with these natural powers, so Piccolo might not have felt the need to train at the time. However, now, after nearly falling victim to the Mafuba and just the possibility that someone else could maybe learn this technique too, or recreate it, yeah, the risks to King Piccolo reign are just too high, so he has created stronger members of his legions to train him and make himself stronger. And because this would force King Piccolo to use his power more and train, this would actually keep his youthful appearance as the years go by. If indeed training is a factor with how humans age in Dragon Ball, like look at Yamcha throughout Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super. He's in his about his 50s in Dragon Ball Super, yet he still looks like he's in his 20s or early 30s. So with that, you can basically go with a younger King Piccolo in this reality. Even though we're heading close to the events of where Dragon Ball begin, it's just the fact that, you know, being trapped in a jar, I don't suppose really there'd be enough room for exercise or anything like that. You would physically become decrepit and age out the way like King Piccolo did. And as for Kami, it was the same for him. There was no real, other than using his foresight and all that to look upon planet Earth and sensing what's going on. It's not like Kami really used much of his power very often. So, just like King Piccolo, he would age out and become decrepit. And in fact, in this reality, that has happened to Kami, just to be clear. While King Piccolo is still staying relatively young and strong. And yes, he has increased his power quite a bit. And well, this is where things really begin to differ in the original Dragon Ball story, because now Kakarot has landed on planet Earth. And he lands right on Mount Paozu like he does in the original. Now the huge thing here is that there's no Grandpa Gohan in this timeline, nor is there any Ox King or anyone like that. King Piccolo has more or less decimated the planet. If you're lucky, the Briefs family have survived throughout the generations, and we might have Bulma and maybe, Yamcha, people who live on the outskirts who have more or less managed to survive. However, with Master Roshi more focused on getting stronger and defeating King Piccolo, he wouldn't really be taking on students of his own at this point. So this would mean Grandpa Gohan hasn't been trained. This would mean that the Ox King also hasn't been trained, which means Grandpa Gohan might be more or less living in the cities or cowering, living in the rubble somewhere. Who really knows? Either way, Grandpa Gohan and the Ox King are not going to be much help here. However, and not to mention Grandpa Gohan would be an old man by now, but little Kakarot has landed on planet Earth and has begun crawling out of his space pod, and it's not long where he's interacting with a member of King Piccolo's Legion, who are basically, as we know, ordered to kill all humans on sight, or enslave them, add them to Piccolo's, human slaves that build Piccolo Tower and all those nasty construction projects of his. Yes, so they initially attack Kakarot only to get the surprise of their life that Kakarot basically just knocks the monster down and basically takes him out right there and then on spot. After all, he is a Saiyan. He does know what he is. He remembers Bardock and Gine. He just doesn't have the vocabulary yet. However, he's still got that natural Saiyan instinct for battle, and that's more than enough to take down one of these mooks. However, Piccolo can sense this. King Piccolo senses this, wondering what would be strong enough out there to actually take on, members of his legions, other than maybe that young martial artist he encountered all those years ago, Master Roshi, who was fleed for him twice. Either way, King Piccolo has instructed his minions to bring whatever this is before him. If this is Master Roshi, he wants to kill him himself. And well, if it's not, it's someone potentially fun that King Piccolo can play with. And well, it's not long when the King Piccolo's legions are before Kakarot, and he is initially overwhelmed by them and is brought before King Piccolo himself, and King Piccolo is surprised to see not this martial artist before him, but this child. This child with a monkey tail, wearing this weird armor, and yeah. It came obvious to King Piccolo right away that this boy is not of this world, especially when other members of Piccolo's legions were carrying Kakarot's space pod. And when Kakarot broke the grip of a couple of his legions and managed to kill a couple more of them, I like your style there, kid. Perhaps you'll be of some use to me. And with just a flicker of his power, the kid is basically rendered unconscious and basically left and chained into a dungeon somewhere, and basically Kakarot is left to be the slave of King Piccolo. Wait, the slave of King Piccolo? I don't know, DB Rai, this is sounding a little bit Dragon Ball Evolution to me. Huh, well, maybe it is, but I'm doing it way differently. Dragon Ball Evolution is a disgrace to Dragon Ball. There's no way I'd be copying it. And well, with that essentially, Piccolo's grip on the Earth is pretty much more or less assured. He's more or less taken over the whole thing, and Kami basically basically kicking himself, realizing he can't really do much about this. He can't stop this whatsoever. King Piccolo has since surpassed him in power. However, the attention of Master Roshi has since caught his eye, and that maybe, just maybe, it's actually possible that the two of them might be able to team up and stop the two. Of course, none of them have really caught on to Kakarot yet. And well, King Piccolo actually gets the surprise of his life one night, where unfortunately the dungeon he put Kakarot in just happened to have a window, and one day, well, Kakarot is like, basically he's there, he's like kept alive, but yeah, he doesn't really use Kakarot for anything, and he hasn't really managed to more or less torture the young kid under his will yet. He's not really under Piccolo's control yet. He's stubborn, he has no intention of following King Piccolo's orders, and whenever he refuses, he's getting like tortured and things like that, which is only making Kakarot dislike King Piccolo further. And well, one night, King Piccolo is gonna get the surprise of his life, because one day, King Piccolo is just napping under rule. He's had a good day, he's destroyed another city, things like that. And well, since this dungeon just happened to have a bit of a window there, for the first time in Kakarot's life, this light seems to shine upon him through the window. It is the light of the full moon. And this gets Kakarot's attention, and he's looking out outside the window, just staring at the full moon. And well, we know what that means, don't we? Kakarot is becoming infused by the blood waves the moon is transferring to Kakarot, taking advantage of his Saiyan biology, and he is transformed into the Great Ape Ozaru. And well, this isn't a Great Ape Ozaru that is under the control of King Piccolo like it is in that disgrace of a movie. That, in fact, me mentioning that movie is a disgrace even itself, and I won't do it anymore. Kakarot has transformed into a Great Ape, and he is rampaging and demolishing King Piccolo's city. Kakarot's power level at about 100, something like that, 10 times multiplier. He's about 1,000. He is a complete beast on this planet, and King Piccolo is flying around, rampaging around, trying to battle this Great Ape. He hasn't yet caught on that it's Kakarot. Right now he just thinks it's just some sort of monster. But this monster is single-handedly wrecking his tower, destroying his stronghold, decimating a good portion of his legion, and if it weren't for King Piccolo's intelligence, he'd certainly be dead battling this creature. Because King Piccolo, his current battle power, he'd be 400, something like that. So not quite as strong as, say, Goku's mother Gine. So he's not even quite half of Kakarot's power at this point. And Kakarot gets a really good hit on him with Kakarot's mouth beam that the Great Apes do. The Ozaru mouth beam. It actually catches Piccolo off guard. He survives, but very barely. He's lost a leg and his arm, and yeah. After that, the rampaging monster just seems to walk off, and King Piccolo having to use his regenerative capabilities to reattach his arms and legs, and he's got himself and his entire legion following the creature, but they're not really able to keep up, especially when he more or less jumps away. And well, after checking the rubble, they realize that Kakarot is missing. There's no clarification, you know, there's no sign of his body anywhere, that he's been trampled, but that, you know, King Piccolo just sort of remembered the tale, and that it's possibility that the creature they were battling is Kakarot at his full power. Yes, with that kind of power, my enemies do not stand a chance. Not even Kami will be able to stop me. And well, with a little bit of searching, the next day they do find Kakarot sort of incapacitated on this streets in one of these cities where he conquered. He's just lying there, out of it. Judging by the devastation he caused, it was indeed the work of Kakarot. It was just that obvious. So with that, and with Kakarot more or less taken back into King Piccolo's custody, and with a basic wave of King Piccolo's power, restoring his basically restoring his tower, King Piccolo Kakarot is back in his little dungeon cell, but this time they've turned the window into a blast door. Something that he can control and actually unleash if he ever wants to use the power of the full moon with Kakarot again. He's just got to open the blast doors, and Kakarot will transform whenever there happens to be a full moon. So with that, they decide to unchain the brat and try a different method in trying to get the boy to listen to him. More or less, you know, maybe see what happens if you actually try and treat the boy nicely, actually give him a good feed, things like that. Perhaps some positive reinforcements is the way to go. Not that King Piccolo is really good with that. He's more or less leaving that in the charge of Piano, someone who's really good at manipulating and that sort of thing. And I think that's actually where we're going to leave things for right now. So what do you guys think of this story? Will Kami actually have to bring himself to work with Master Roshi in order to bring down King Piccolo? And what's going to happen now that we've got Kakarot on the verge of maybe working for him and being an ally towards this self-proclaimed Demon King? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys again next time. Catch you later.